Guys, on a recent episode of 1000 Pound Sisters, we got one of the most iconic moments in the show's history, and that was when Tammy's husband Caleb first met her siblings. And I mean, it was just so awkward. Everyone was super nervous, and Tammy even admitted that she was hoping it would all turn out okay, but then Caleb did the weirdest thing.
Hi. Butters. You know who that is. Butters.
So Tammy then greeted Amy's baby son, Glenn, and went to cuddle him, and instead of introducing himself, the first thing that Caleb did was ask Tammy what she was going to do when they had one of their own kids.
What are you gonna do when we have our own?
And this moment has since gone viral, and it's pretty clear why, you guys. I mean, the looks on everyone's faces were absolutely hilarious. I mean, look at Amy's face. She seriously looks so shocked and confused and just baffled. I mean, this whole situation is just so painful and hilarious to watch, and Michael was literally staring at Caleb with an open mouth. And Chris's face was honestly the best. He was so clearly over it pretty much immediately. And throughout all of it, Caleb was just kind of avoiding eye contact with everyone and not saying anything. I mean, take a look at this. It is just so ridiculous, but what really got me was when Tammy finally then introduced them to each other.
So, Caleb, Michael, Amy, Chris, Brittany.
I mean, it really drove home the point this was the first thing that he ever said to them. And I mean, it's like, how insane is that? He met his fiance's family for the first time ever, and the thing that came out of him first was this weird comment about wanting to have kids with Tammy, and it's just so bizarre. And you could clearly tell that none of the siblings were happy with him at that moment, and you know, that has to be the quickest way to make your partner's family hate you ever. And honestly, it would be impressive if it wasn't so painfully awkward, and I just don't know what he was thinking. But what makes all of this even worse is that it was pretty clear that he was actually nervous about the encounter, and so was Tammy, so you'd think that that would just make him try a little harder and maybe jump in right away and introduce himself or something, but instead, the guy did this. And after he and Tammy literally just had a conversation about how hard to please her family could be sometimes, and Tammy made it clear to Caleb that she was very nervous about the meeting, and she mentioned that her family was no Brady Bunch, that they could be really intimidating sometimes. And at first, Caleb seemed pretty okay with that, and he said that since he loved her, he knew that he would love her family too. But then in a confessional, he did admit that he found the whole thing just really nerve-wracking, and he was especially worried about if they were going to like him or not, which honestly makes what he did once they entered the room even more shocking. And after the introductions were made, I mean, it was just clear that Tammy's family was not on board with the whole marriage plan, and Amy said that even though Caleb seemed like a really nice guy, she still had her concerns, and you know, she was still hoping that Tammy might back out of it at the last minute, and Chris flat out told Caleb that they would be having a serious conversation, just the two of them. And honestly, I really don't blame them for being like this, and it's not like they were skeptical about the relationship and Caleb himself just because of the ridiculous first impression, but Caleb, he comes with a lot of red flags, and I don't think anyone would be supportive of a relationship like that. And it's only natural that they were immediately worried about Tammy, and I mean, for one, they all only got to meet Caleb the day before the wedding, and that's like as last minute gets, and it doesn't really give them a chance to properly get to know them. And like Amy said, someone can seem nice, but you only really get to know them after a while when they start, revealing their true colors, and a day just is not nearly enough time to get to know someone like that. And let's be real, it's not like the 5 weeks that Tammy got is really much better, and I feel like by the time that they were at the wedding ceremony, none of them really knew Caleb. And what makes this even more worrying is that the stuff that we do know about him does not make any of this much better at all. I mean, the fact that he saw Tammy on TV and found out which rehab center she was at and then followed her there definitely makes me question his true intentions. And on top of that, there's also the fact that he could seriously just derail Tammy Tammy's progress, and I think we were all happy when we learned how much weight Tammy had lost, and she looks so much better now, and it's been great to see her actually work on herself, for once, and I couldn't be prouder of her, but that's what makes me so worried, because I think Chris put it really well when he said that Tammy was given this chance to have a normal life, and she didn't expect this chance, but now she had it, and this new man in her life could potentially just take it away, and Caleb has a lot of the same issues as Tammy, and while that could be great because they could really support and understand each other, it could also be dangerous, and if one of them picks up their bad habits again, they might drag the other one down with them. And also I want to mention too that it's not like Caleb can actually take care of Tammy, and at this point neither one really even can take care of themselves, but Caleb also doesn't have a job or anything like that, and he told Chris that he'd previously been like a tree trimmer and worked at a fast food restaurant, but that was all in the past, and it's not like he can keep a job right now, and he admitted that he was worse off than Tammy, which we know is true because at this point Tammy is back home, but he's still in rehab. And honestly, I could just go on. The list of Caleb's red flags do seem pretty endless, and Tammy's family can see right through them, and they did eventually decide to give him the benefit of the doubt and be supportive, and they did obviously attend the wedding and had a great time, but they also raised some really good points about Caleb's intentions, and I feel like, they'll still be keeping an eye on him, as they kind of should be, and personally, I still don't know how I feel about this guy. Is he genuine? Does he actually like Tammy, or is he just in it for the fame? And the thing I really don't understand is why did they have to get married so soon? And I think Amanda made a great point when she questioned the whole thing, because she saw that Tammy was head over heels for this guy, which concerned her, and she didn't understand the need to rush into things like this, and I couldn't agree more. And plus, with Tammy's relationship history, I just don't want to see her get hurt again, and between Jerry Sykes and the BBW King, Tammy's had a lot of bad luck when it comes to love, and I just hope that Caleb isn't more of the same. He doesn't seem to be like that at all, and he did tell Chris that he wanted to get better with and for Tammy, and that he also had no intentions of dragging her down, but only time will tell if he was actually telling the truth and if his and Tammy's relationship is actually good for her. And hey, I really hope it is, but at this point, I'm just not really convinced. But anyway, what do you guys think? Did you watch the episode, and what did you make of this awkward first meeting? And do you think Caleb and Tammy make sense together? And also, the million-dollar question, do you trust him? Guys, put in the comments below and let me know what you guys are thinking.